Hello, I'm White Birch Tarot and Astrology, but I'm not doing either of those. I was actually going to read a poem, but my voice was cracking because I have terrible allergies, so I'm going to just blab for a few minutes and see if my voice cooperates, and then I might share the poem. But I wanted to tell you, if you're interested, if you're not, and I'll timestamp if anybody wants to hear the poem and not me blabbing. Well, first I just had this weird thought I just want to share with you, which is more lighthearted than my poem. I was thinking, I don't know why I'm even talking about this, but I was thinking to myself, I read this thing, it said, did you know this, that as you age, your nose, your teeth, and your ears continue to grow, but your eyes and your lips get smaller. They shrink. And I'm like, well, gee, thanks. Who came up with that? I mean, sometimes I wonder, I believe in a higher consciousness, and I believe that it's loving sometimes, and then sometimes I think, I don't know about that. I mean, who comes up with these things, like dementia and, oh well, anyway. And so I was thinking to myself, I came up with this contest in my mind, and I thought, okay, if you could pick 3 body parts, and if it's a thing that comes in pairs, like let's say breasts, for example, that only counts as 1. Or kidneys, that counts as 1. Because we have a pair, okay? Or eyes. And I'm not talking about healing, because I know in my own body, I know what I would heal. I have my eyes. I know that's different. I'm talking about just aesthetically. I don't know why. I'm just goofy tonight. Venus is opposite Neptune. I put that in my last tarot post, and she's in a grand trine with Pluto and Uranus, and it's weird. Anyway, I was just thinking about that. I thought, I gotta think about that one for all of you. So if you could pick 3 body parts that just aesthetically would look like, well, maybe you pick whatever time in your life you want them to go back and look that way, what would they be? I won't say leave it in the comments. You can if you want to, but it might get a little strange. But I thought, wouldn't that be fun, though, if we got that chance? Anyway, I was going to initially, I want to read my poem, but I think I'm too croaky. For some reason, reading is harder than talking, but I will on another night. But I wanted to share, if anyone's interested, about these astounding synchronicities that I've been having. I always have them, but the other night, Saturday night, this is Wednesday morning, it's my Tuesday night, I was in the shower, and no, I'm not going to talk about body parts, and I had like 5 things that ran through my mind that I felt like I didn't create, like they just popped in my mind, and I'd think about them. They were my life things, but I'd think about them, and then I'd think, oh, don't think about that. That's grim, or that's whatever, or why are you thinking about this? And so I'd stop thinking about them. And then I came downstairs, and I'm reading this book that I mentioned before. It's called Ordinary Mysticism. And I opened to where I'd left off, and within the first 2 pages, the woman talked about all 5 of the things that were in my mind in the shower. I swear to God. And I thought, what? And then I kept reading, and then she had 4 more things that were things that had happened to me in my life exactly. And I'm not easily weirded out by this stuff. Okay, I love synchronicities. They happen to me all the time. I love them. It makes me feel connected. I like them. But this was so weird. I put down the book, and I thought, I'm going to check my emails, and I did. And this woman I've mentioned before, Rosemary Watola Traumer, I get a poem a day from her, and her poem was entitled, I Like Your Costume. And for those of you who listened to me blab, it was like a month or so ago, I got on here, and because it was so astounding to me that I was at the store, and this woman came up to me and said, I like your outfit. She was so nice. And I said to myself, I have on an outfit? Because I didn't. but it's so kind of her. So anyway, but the poem was called I Like Your Costume, and that happened to her. Some woman comes up to her when she's out somewhere and says, I like your costume, and she says to herself, I ask myself, I'm wearing a costume? And I thought, this is weird, because that's what I said to myself. It's just the only word was different, was outfit instead of costume. And so that was the 10th thing in a row, because I'd put down the book after 9 things, and that was the 10th thing. And it was just weird. And then, and Christina, if you're watching, you already know this because I told you. But so then on Sunday, I went to visit my sister, and I don't know why I'm sharing this, but it's just such an astounding thing. And I won't give you all the details to go into, but anyway, we're out somewhere. It's not where we think, it's not what it said on the website. And we walk into this place, which turns out to be a wine bar, an open-air wine bar with a roof and stuff. And they have loudspeakers, and they're playing music. And they're playing a Stevie Nicks song. And I'm with my sister, who I haven't seen since June. And she lost her only daughter, my only niece, passed away in July of 2020. And my favorite female singer, I have many, but my all-time favorite is Stevie Nicks, and that was my niece's favorite. And I just thought, oh my God, my niece is here. I felt her, and I grabbed my sister's arm and I said, Deidre's here. And I said, listen, Deidre's here. And then she started crying, and then I felt bad, but then she forgot because she has dementia. But anyway, but she was singing the song Gypsy. And I didn't realize it until I got home later that night, that the night before that, my sister, I was on the phone with her, and she said, because she can't remember, she said, do you remember that time you dressed up like a gypsy? When was that, and why did you? And yeah, I remembered. It was for Halloween, my favorite holiday. And my sister had done my makeup for me. I was 11 years old, and I was living in this city again, which I can't seem to get out of. This is not my home. But anyway, so we had just talked about me dressing as a gypsy the night before. Then I go see her the next day, and we're out, and we hear me and my niece's favorite singer singing the song Gypsy. And I knew my niece was there in spirit. I knew she was. And so then tonight, I told someone about it. And then I went to listen to the song, and then I realized to myself, that song, Stevie Nicks wrote that song as a tribute to her friend who passed away. And there's a line in it, I still see your bright eyes. I'm trying not to cry. My niece had really bright eyes. And I was told that I when I was younger, I don't think I do now, that's what everyone always described me as. They always said, oh, your twinkly eyes. And I was like, I have twinkly eyes? I guess I don't ever believe things when people tell me. But so I went to listen to the song, and then I thought, oh my God, she wrote this. I forgot this. She wrote this as a tribute to her best friend who had just passed away. And she was only like 35 or 34 or something. So I don't know. That's a very weird synchronicity. And do I have the voice to read this? I don't know. Should I try? No, I think I'll do it another night. So if anybody wants to listen to this, I'll just put on here that I was just blabbing. And I will read this poem. It's for Bob. But anyway, I will do it on a different night because I think I'm too croaky. Anyway, thank you for listening. Just wanted to share my weird synchronicities. If you have any synchronicities, or if anything weird is happening to you now because of these weird aspects going on, I love to hear synchronicities. I love them. And I read a book one time. I wish I could remember the name of it. It was a whole book about coincidences. They call them coincidences. I call them synchronicities. And they were just amazing. It was an amazing book. I wish I could, if I find the name, I will post it on here. And after I read the book, I had the 2 biggest synchronicities that I've ever had in my life within 2 days. One was the next day, and then one was, I think, the day after. It was astounding. So when you think about them, I don't know, they're like a flock of, we got to come up with a word, like a cluster, you know, well, I mean, not that word, but a, a thing of synchronicities. Leave me a comment, like, you know, there's like a murder of crows and a, I always forget the other ones. Is it a flock of starlings or somebody? A something of rooks. What is it? A parliament of rooks, I think. If you know any, let me know. I love those. Okay, I'm just wanting to share. Thanks. Good night.